Today's Wednesday, November 20th, 2013. You're tuned into the Elevator Radio Show. The Elevator Radio Show is a proud supporter of the Elevator Escalator Safety Foundation. To find out how you can make a difference, visit their website today at www.eesf.org. Everybody got a great show for you today, so stay tuned. Here it comes.
You're tuned in to the Elevator Radio Show, a weekly program dedicated to covering news and information on elevators, escalators, and moving walkways. Produced in the wee hours of the morning, a new show is uploaded every Wednesday, sometimes even before you get out of bed. Listen to some of the comments sent in from our audience.
Rob from New York writes, Tom, are you f***ing insane? You actually get up at 2 a.m. each Wednesday to put this show out? Man, you must love elevators. Tim from Illinois writes, I'm not sure why I listened, but ever since I tuned into the first show back in 2007, I've been addicted. Matt in Texas writes, I like your safety messages, Tom. It's important to remember them each and every day. And he also adds,
when am I going to win the monthly prize pack giveaway?
Ron from California sent this in. Despite your inability to pronounce words in the English language, I tune in each week and am glad that you offer this service to the industry. It's better than Google News alerts. Sarah from Washington writes, love the show, Tom, and look forward to it each week. I'm glad I signed up for the newsletter. You provide a valuable resource for the industry, not only for North America, but worldwide.
Enjoy the show. And now, here's your sleep-deprived host, Tom Seibert.
Hello, everybody. Yes, indeed, I am Tom Seibert. It's great to be here this Wednesday morning where, man, it's hard to believe that next week is Thanksgiving for those of you celebrating here in the United States. I know that in Canada, your Thanksgiving, I think, was in October, which doesn't seem quite right, but we'll cut you a little slack on that. But yeah, no, it's great to be there this Wednesday morning. Amazing how quickly the month of November has flown by. Next week, we will have a show. So it'll be the show before basically heading out on the road to go up to the North Woods of Wisconsin, spend some wonderful family time with family, obviously. But looking forward to that. Always a kind of a special time to get away. And one of my favorite holidays, because it's one that has not yet been commercialized. And I say that over and over again, but man, I got to tell you, October, when I went to our local hardware store, they had the Christmas aisle already set up before Halloween even hit. I mean, that's how crazy it was. And it's really unfortunate that, Christmas and even Halloween, for that matter, has become such a money economic stimulus type of holiday, and it's really unfortunate because it really makes me dread heading into Christmas right after Thanksgiving. So other than some turkeys and some pumpkin pies, if it can deal with pumpkin flavored everything for a month from October through pretty much through November, I guess. That's about all you have to deal with when it comes to Thanksgiving. So I hope everybody has a wonderful Thanksgiving next week. If I don't touch base with you or you do not pick up the show next Wednesday, either because you're traveling or whatnot, and enjoy yourself. So I'll be up in Wisconsin, hoping to see a little bit of snow up there, and sitting by the fire, enjoying some wonderful food and the company of family, friends, and just looking forward to that. I know it's always a busy week, because you go through work, you leave Wednesday night, drive 8 hours, and so you pretty much have 3 days, drive home on the fourth day. And you're usually pretty exhausted, but I tell you, it's definitely worth it. So, hey, thanks to everybody who sent in emails asking how we were doing here in the Midwest, in the Chicagoland. If you are a Bears fan or you're watching any of the game, one of the highlights was the fact that they actually had to postpone the game due to some pretty serious weather that had come through the Midwest and Illinois area, and it was pretty darn serious, to be honest with you. Luckily, it did not head north that much. But man, it did some huge devastation in the southern or the Midwestern part of Illinois and Indiana, and obviously our hearts go out to those who lost pretty much everything. What makes it really worse is the fact that it's November, so basically we had warm weather all weekend, and this cold front moved in, so now it's pretty cold. So trying to rebuild and trying to get their homes in order has been it's going to be pretty tough because of the cold weather coming through. So, if you are interested in supporting any of those towns, I encourage you to give a donation to the American Red Cross. I do have a link in the show notes. It is in the main body over at elevatorradioshow.com. They're doing some great things down there, bringing food, shelter, and basically doing what they can to care for those that have pretty much lost everything. What's awesome, too, is that there have been quite a few people going down to cities and towns like Washington. I forgot some of the other ones that were hard hit. I think Guilford was one of them, to help out, to try to do what they can. And you know, when you have people from your local state or area coming to help, that is huge. I mean, you know, when you hear about tragedies that happen throughout the world and how much support goes out, whether it's the the typhoon that hit the Philippines or anything like that, it's really, you know, we don't think close to home that there's stuff we can do, and as the media really just latches on to, you know, the terribleness of it all, and they don't really do a good job at giving you opportunities to reach out and say, hey, this is how you can help. So, you know, this is your opportunity to help. So please consider doing so. I've already done so myself, and a good opportunity. American Red Cross is a great organization that does a fine job for towns that are in definite need. So, but that was pretty serious. I was cleaning my garage, kind of watching the storm, and storm after storm came through. It poured. I was out there in the street trying to get the leaves out of the gutters so that our neighborhood wouldn't flood. Not that it really would, but it was pretty wicked weather. And in light of the tragedies that occurred, you know, I think they said 17 tornadoes touched down in the state of Illinois alone. I did post a photograph that I thought was a little bit on the lighter side. I mean no disrespect, so please don't send me your hate emails saying that was insensitive of me, because I'm very sensitive to obviously what happened in downstate. So anyway, that's about it on that. Getting into our emails for the show. I want to thank Bob. Bob, thanks for the kind words regarding support in my injury and asking for help. And you are absolutely right. You know, one of the things that I've learned through my injury is that it sucks to be injured. It sucks to not be able to do as much as you used to be able to do. But I am finding that it is okay to ask for help. And it's also okay to, to lean on other people, which I've done. My wife is probably one of the ones I've leaned on the most. So, Tiffany, thank you. And Bob, thank you for the kind words. I appreciate that. It's good to be back. And I think we have all the technical glitches worked out. And if not, let me know. Send me an email. Those of you who did write in telling me that the show was cut off or in half last week, I'm not sure what happened there. All I do know is that when I did produce the show, it was longer than it was recorded. So there was a point where it just went dead. And I think 27 minutes into it, the show was actually over, but it was still recording. I hadn't trimmed the back of it up. So thanks to Brad and Diane, and to who else was writing into that? Dan, Maddie, Dan. Yeah, quite a few people going, hey, what happened? So we do have the video element back, so enjoy that. That'll be over on the YouTube channel. I think I did try to load up the audio version of that without any success. So I think we're through with our audio glitches. And if anybody has any issues with that, let me know. We're kind of piping it in a little different way, and we'll see if this is working or not. So, Carl, I got your press release. We do have the link to the show notes. Thanks for that. Let's see here. Covered that last week. I do have a couple press releases that we do have embedded in the program today. And Jack wrote in saying, hey, the flag on the microphone is wearing. You should change that. I'm going to do that right now, Jack. I got a new American flag sticker here, and you're right. I don't think it's not quite respectful to be doing it this way, but I'm going to put the new American flag logo over the microphone there, so hopefully that makes you happy. And that's going to do it pretty much for the email comments of the program. As always, send your emails to elevatorradioshow@gmail.com. Again, I apologize if I don't get back to you soon enough. As always, you can shoot me a phone call on my cell number if you're in the Chicagoland area, you want to get together or whatever, just shoot me or give me a call, 847-331-5343. And I do try to, reach out to those that do come in, and but don't take it the wrong way if I don't get back to you quick because I just get swamped with these emails, and unfortunately, quite a few of them are press releases and stuff that don't really matter. So, anyway, that's going to do for the emails. So, up next, we'll get right into the news. We should have you out of here in no time. So, stay tuned. News is next.
Let this week's news stories give you a lift on what's happening in the vertical transportation arena. Each news segment is organically dug and fresh with news stories of the week. Got lift? If not, stay tuned.
All right. As I mentioned before, the news for this week, it's hard to believe we're at 350 shows. Doesn't seem like that many, but at the same time seems like quite a few. Anyway, yeah, I typically do a show recap kind of with stats and numbers and stuff based on when we started back in 2005. I think it was 2005. Man, can't be that long. No. I think it was December 5th. Anyway, I don't know what the date was, but long and short of it is maybe I'll do that next week if I can find some time to pull all those numbers together. It's always amazing to me. And again, stats are not something that I check each week or anything like that, mainly because I don't have time and I really don't care. So as long as you enjoy the show, I'll keep doing it, and I will figure that out. Hopefully, in 2 shows, we'll get that information to you. As I mentioned before, American Red Cross link is shown in the post there. I do have it there if you want to join in or how to get involved, share a story. They do a great job, and it's always nice to see their trucks and their logos everywhere, and they do give back quite a bit, which is awesome. So if you want to do that, check out the photographs there that kind of show some of the devastation that's been going on. So yeah, kind of scary, to say the least. Okay, first news article here. This is a European story, the Sentinel, covering an article. I don't actually know where this happened, but if you read through it, it just gives you an idea on how, basically how, and maybe this is the translation, but this is an article talking about a woman who accidentally halted an escalator in the shopping center by jamming her high heel shoe into it, and basically she said, "Well, I had a piece of metal. My heel had a steel part of it, and that's what got stuck." But you wouldn't see that here in the States in terms of somebody that was in an accident or that happened to them just saying, "Oh yeah, it was my shoe that did it," or you have an attorney in there saying, "Nope, don't say anything." And then the fun would begin. So, okay, next news. 2 news articles are covering the. This is covering the accident. I think we touched on this last week too, regarding the death of the hospital worker that was working on the elevator that was killed. And basically, this article coming from WHNT, Channel 19 News, talking about the fact in Decatur, Alabama, that a newly released report indicates elevator involved in an incident that killed man was functioning as intended. So, but at the same time, I don't quite know how it could have been working as it was intended. Although, this is kind of where the media does their slew on words to some extent. This is a report also cites information from the Decatur Police Department investigation that states the hoistway door interlock safety controls of the ground floor of the elevator were overridden. Now that's not good, and that's where your timeout jumpers from WarTech could definitely help out when it comes to timeouts. It's an issue. It's a continuing issue. I would just like to learn more about the person that was killed in terms of what his training was and what his technical information was. Again, this is another blog or post or article from al.com. And basically the title of it is with 2 investigations complete, questions remain in elevator death at Decatur Hospital. And I agree with that. And I don't know how they're going to go about this, but I would think that OSHA would be involved. In this case, I'm not 100% sure that is the case. So elevator investigators with the Alabama Department of Labor issued a report Tuesday stating the elevator was functioning as intended at the time of the accident. And basically, the gentleman who was killed from Russellville, Alabama, was a maintenance worker who, I think it was maintenance, Russellville, might not be actually in Alabama, but anyway, was a maintenance worker who was leaning into the shaft trying to repair a sump pump when the elevator came down, pinning his body, according to Morgan County Coroner. So anyway, but it's one of these reports where the The Department of Labor report that was filed by Ralph B. Pate indicated that the case of the incident likely originated with a safety control failure, but evidence obtained by the Decatur Police Department during the course of the investigation suggests that the hoistway door interlock safety controls at the ground floor of the elevator were overridden. So, yeah, this is, you know what, yeah, safety control error, absolutely, but at the same time, oh, this is terrible. Okay. Hey, let me go down here for a minute. I didn't mean to lose my train of thought. Lindsay Williams, a spokesman, I would say she's a spokeswoman for the Occupational Safety and Health Administration in Atlanta, a division which oversees Alabama, said OSHA does not have jurisdiction to investigate because the incident occurred in a publicly owned hospital. What? I don't understand that. How can they be exempt from that? Doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't understand. Since when does OSHA not go into publicly held government type of, you know, facilities? Are they not kept under the same? Do they not fall under the same safety requirements as private entities, or what the hell? I don't get that. That's very disturbing to say the least. So yeah, does that make sense to you? I would say no. That's a little frustrating. So maybe we'll learn more about that. I really doubt that we will. But again, looks like it was whoever was working on it was the cause behind the accident, obviously. Let's see here. Okay, next news blog, actually, it's an older blog post that was put out there. And actually, I found this article on this company through Elevator World's daily updates. You can go ahead and go to elevatorworld.com and click on their daily updates. You can find out what's going on. It's kind of a nice, a great way of getting kind of news each day. So I encourage you to do that. This is a company called Tiger Tracks. And basically, they've come up with an app that can, a networking app that will relay information of your building's equipment being worked on, you know, what's scheduled to be done, when your inspections are due. And when I started looking at this, I'm like, well, you know, is any building owner really going to either want to know what's going on completely with their building, or, you know, or are they going to understand? Because ultimately, we're so bombarded by information that at the end of the day, you know, other than for legality purposes, you know, is a building owner going to look at all that stuff and really, you know, understand and comprehend and hold the maintenance company, whether it's elevators, building maintenance, lighting, fire, life safety, stuff like that, you know, accountable? I just wonder. And honestly, it is the building owner's responsibility through premise liability to ensure that those buildings are safe for the public, and it is their legal responsibility to do so, regardless of them not being adequately trained or understanding of all, you know, you can't be an expert on everything, you know what I mean? And so that's why building owners kind of rely on maintenance companies out there. So read this, and it really kind of gives an interesting perspective on how, if you're a maintenance provider, what does an app like this do for them? And other than ensuring that you are protected legally, they have put some dollars and cents down, which is kind of amusing because third paragraph down, a service tech bills out at $75 an hour. I just laughed at that. Spends at least 1 hour a day doing paperwork and works 250 days a year. This can reduce paperwork time by 1 hour per week. That's a big chunk of change. So obviously, that's totally understandable in that case. So, and also customer service is a good idea for doing that. But there's also apps out there that can assist with that as well. So, you know, that are more elevator based. And I'll link, and we actually touch on some of those in the program. Let me just find it real quick. Bear with me one moment, because I don't want to missay the app that's out there. Keep an eye. Okay. Oh, you know, I'm going to find it later on. It's, okay, here we go. Bear with me. It's called Project QEI. If you're interested in an elevator type of app, pqei.com, have it shown here on the page. They can do quite a bit to help you out with this, and it is a company that specifically deals with elevator apps in general. So I encourage you to check this out if you're looking for any kind of online type of program. Liftstreet.com is the website, and this is pretty slick. So lots of customization, not lots of customization, but this can be kind of tailored to your company if need be. So check it out if you get time, because I definitely agree with the paperwork, management section of running a business and mechanics filling out paperwork and whether they're doing it correctly or not. So and I don't mean that to say that in a bad way, but I work with people that have to fill out time tickets, and unfortunately, some of them are real detailed, some of them are not. So it's just human nature, and when you're under pressure to do all sorts of things, it can be kind of tough. So encourage you to check that out. Again, go to liftstreet.com to find out more information from a company that's actually in the elevator industry that has apps and programs and stuff already in process. Okay, Brock's Man mugged in an apartment building, abclocal.go.com, excuse me. And again, in New York City, they have probably one of the highest success rates in capturing elevator assaults and attacks. So, yeah, kind of serious incident. Usually it typically involves a woman, and I'm glad that this was not the case. Still a bad situation. Okay, end of the week elevator fun. Elevator World Unplugged has a funny blog post. And if you're like me and need a break from a long week, this is a brain teaser, probably a little bit harder than you might expect. So you can click on the link to complete that. Haven't done that. I might do that at the end of the week if I'm not already fried. Elevator work continues into 2014. QCron.com, Queens Chronicle, has an article. Those needing to ride an elevator to the subway instead of taking the stairs at the 71st Avenue Station, Forest Hills, will have to wait a little while longer. The nearly 2-year-long elevator installation project has officially surpassed the original expected completion date, with months more work to be done. Instead of October 2013, the $24.7 million project is now scheduled to be finished in January 2014. Well, that's not too much further. Anyway, so you can read more about that in the show notes. I'm sure they're going as quickly as they can, and this is the New York Transit system. So, yeah, designing the systems for transits is not always the easiest thing to do, and I know that work's been done quite a while ago. Okay, next article, United Arab Emirates, GulfNews.com, has a follow-up post regarding that girl that passed away or died after being crushed between a shop wall and an elevator store. Horrific, as you can imagine. The uncle of the niece ran to go and help the little girl, and just was too late. I can't imagine ever going through anything like that. So, just awful. Despite certificates, elevators are up to snuff or up to date. This is a post coming from the KenyanCollegian.com, talking about reports from the students talking about the fact that the certificate dates may not be up to date. However, they are apparently, according to Kenyon College officials. So you can read more about that. Link is in the show notes, and that's typically the case, or you like to imagine. Are you safe between floors at the mall? And this one did not post through, so I will find that article and link that up after I get the show in the can. Photo of the week. This is a cool one. This photo is one of those observation decks that are enclosed in really thick glass, and this one is really cool. It's neat that we have one here in Chicago. And if you ever get a chance to come to Chicago, go up into I want to call it the Sears Tower. I don't know what the heck it's called now. I'm going to call it the Sears Tower or the Hancock. One of the two has these. Just Google it so you're not going to the wrong building. Anyway, but they're pretty exciting. Definitely give you the willies as you're riding, or as you're walking out into that over the floor. Just very frightening. Anyway, okay, Catching Fire's Star Naked Elevator Revelation. Okay, I didn't really read this yet, and I don't know who this person is. I did read all the Hunger Games because of my kids, and I have to say, like any movie, they never live up to the books, But anyway, this is a little post regarding Joanna Mason. I don't care. So My attention span just left me. You had me, then you lost me. Naked and movie stars had me right there, and then I'm like, okay, who cares? Naked woman elevator. Okay, that was enough for me to post it, and then now everybody can look at it, even though it really doesn't have much to do with that. Here in Chicago, 9 people were rescued from elevator Cook County Administration Building at 69 West Washington. I do know these buildings, and kind of scary, the fact that they were stuck for more than an hour on Friday evening. I'm not quite sure why that was so long, but yeah, it seems like it should be a little bit sooner in terms of that, but everybody's okay, thank goodness. And that building was also the same building where there was a fire, and 6 people were killed when they basically went up the stairway after firefighters directed them, and they couldn't get out because all of the stairway doors were locked. Just terrible. So anyway, I'm not going to click on the video because I am not sure if the audio levels are just going to blast you out of commission. The next one is, what is Diesel Doozy? If you ever wondered what Andrew Reams was up to and kind of what he does, here's a great intro from him and some of the work he's done. I encourage you to check it out, and good guy to reach out to if you're ever interested in finding out more. I'm not going to click on the trailer for it because it's going to play on its own, and I don't know if the video is just going to blast everybody out. So anyway, C.J. Anderson's got a video and a short blog post talking about how to determine horsepower of a motor if the data tag is gone. So this is kind of what they do on some of those older elevators that either don't have that information, or it's not available through the local inspection or AHJ or the file or city or town that holds their certificate. And also there's some good links in there how to measure car speed using the Maxton, I forgot what it's called anyway, and a motor tachometer to find out RPM. So anyway, good blog post. Hopefully that helps you out. Good to kind of bookmark or create a Excel sheet so you can kind of determine that. Always remember to oversize the motor if possible and make sure those RPMs are pretty much identical, because any increase in the RPMs, if you're replacing a motor or whatever, could definitely cause some issues with the elevator speed going faster. So, and it's a pretty solid formula that's been used for quite some time. Okay, ATIS performs first third-party inspections in Mississippi. At first, when I read this post through it kind of scared me because I thought it said first inspection in Mississippi, but it doesn't say that. So I'm assuming that Mississippi had their own internal inspection department, and I could be wrong on that, but they did enact an Elevator Safety and Conveyance Act in Mississippi, or actually a Mississippi Conveyance Safety Act. And so congratulations to ATIS for their inspections in that state in doing that. So hopefully that leads to more safer elevators there in that location. Okay, medics and patient get stalled in an elevator. Firehouse.com reporting in Fontana in California. Apparently firefighters rescued their own after a paramedic squad from the department and the patient they were trying to get to an ambulance became stuck in an apartment complex. Kind of scary. So everybody was okay, and the team was able to get the people out of the elevator safely. And unfortunately, you just wonder what the deal was. And but I'm certain they took the proper safety measures to get people out. Next news article, bleedingcool.com. Hey, how many of you out there remember the Bionic Man from the 1970s and the Bionic Woman? I was a mere lad at that time. I loved it. I love those shows. I always wanted them to hook up and then have bionic babies. I did, but never happened. So anyway, or maybe it did. I don't know. I just remember being really, really young and just believing that this guy had a bionic arm, and that's the music, whatever it was. I can't duplicate it. But if you're interested on finding out how Paul Tobin led to writing The Bionic Woman, you can find that because it actually happened in an elevator. Yep. I guess crazier things have happened in an elevator. Why not the creation of the idea behind the Bionic Woman? Okay, fixing escalators could cost $4 million. The news for Louisville, WFPL News 89.3. It's a lot of money. Heck yeah. Fixing Hall of Justice escalators could cost up to $4 million. Ouch. Big chunk of change. This is where your tax dollars are going. And yeah, it's a lot of money. So I don't know. Stuff's expensive. It's the bottom line. They're big machinery, pieces of machinery, and that's just what it is. Okay, next news article is really important, one that you want to check out, the one that you want to make sure all of your people know about, okay? NorthJersey.com is reporting that Macy's escalator accident, close the pop-up, prompts promise to sue inspection company. Now, this typically happens. However, it doesn't usually get in the media. When there's an accident involving a conveyance device, everybody gets sued. I mean, you might not even be in the elevator, and you might get, in the elevator industry, you might get sued. But the point of this article is that, if we're all doing our jobs the way we're supposed to be doing them, the reality is you're not going to get pulled into a suit, or if you are, you'll have the documentation to say, hey, this is what we have. We have this information. We have somebody signing it, or we have due notification that we let them know that XYZ is not being needs these pieces of equipment to be maintained properly. And at the end of the day, if you have a client or a customer that you are afraid to do this with, perhaps you should not have them as a client or a customer. Because if you do not, do your due diligence, it could be like it might even be a monthly, like a yearly report card on their elevators. That might be a great way of doing it, so they understand, like, okay, is this a safety concern? No, or is this a safety? As you go down a list, just letting them know so that when a day like this comes, which hopefully is never, you don't have any type of, you hire an attorney, it's going to cost a little bit of money, but you have the documentation that states that, hey, the owner was notified and did not want to make the changes or the upgrades. In this case, this is not necessarily the issue, but I'll let everybody read this on their own. I'm not an escalator device expert by no means, but it does sound like there were some issues with maintenance based on the story and the article. And just so it's obviously if a lawsuit like this happens, it's going to go everywhere. And just because you have insurance does not mean that you're safe or you're protected, because at the end of the day, it's going to cost you more money, and it is painful. Okay, it's just painful being opposed and being opposed. Getting ripped a new one is not a whole lot of fun, and when you're not getting paid to do it, it's time that you really do not need to be doing. So make sure you get your documentation in line. You're doing the maintenance that you need to do. You're doing training for your products and safety, all that good stuff, and you're notifying customers, clients that if there are definite deficiencies in equipment that need to be taken care of, that they are notified that of what could happen or what might happen, and so that they are encouraged to make either modifications or modernizations or equipment replacements. So that's, I think, the best way of really looking at that, because if it doesn't, where are we all at? So anyway, next news article is an iTeam report on above. Let's see if this plays by itself. I think it might. Anyway, I'm going to let everybody watch that on their own, because ultimately it's let me just see if I can play it. Bear with me one moment here. If it just blasts you, I apologize. I cannot edit this once it goes. Hold on one second here.
At Jeep, we're giving you everything you need this holiday.
Jeep's going to get a free commercial.
And that means
I like the song.
You can give a little something back. Start your holiday with some of the
And
best
this
deals
is
of
an
the year at the
investigative
Jeep Big Finish event.
report. Here we go.
Millions of people ride escalators every day. They're in the malls, offices, airports, and train stations. But as Tom Yamas explains, a New Jersey family wants you to think twice before taking that next step. And we want to warn you, some of the video you're about to see may be disturbing.
At first glance, it's hard to make out what that pink thing is sticking out of the escalator comb plate. But it's a child sneaker. And this is what it looked like when it was freed, completely mutilated. What's even more jarring, this little girl's foot was in that shoe when an escalator at the Garden State Plaza Mall nearly swallowed it.
Always be careful on escalators.
That's the advice 11-year-old Juliana Valdez has for other kids. She lost 2 toes in this accident and has undergone 15 surgeries, almost losing her entire foot.
She only can take 10 steps at a time and then got to go back to her bed.
On August 16th, Juliana, her mother, and brother were shopping at the Macy's in the Garden State Plaza Mall. They stepped onto this escalator, designated Macy's Escalator Number 2 by the Paramus Buildings Department. The I-Team looked into escalator number 2. It was built in 1955 and was operating with an expired certificate of compliance at the time of the accident. Records the I-Team dug up show back in March, an inspector found the steps on escalator 2 didn't run smoothly and it needed maintenance for its roller and track surface. Maintenance work that was never completed.
These escalators are so poorly maintained that the distance between the steps is about double what the code permits.
So why was this escalator still operating if its certificate was expired?
There was no life safety defect that was disclosed at any time by the inspection company.
Escalators in New Jersey are supposed to be inspected twice a year. But according to documents from Paramus, the escalator where the accident happened was only inspected once in 2012 and only once in 2013 prior to the accident.
I do not know if those inspections were ever complete. We have requested that all the records be turned over by the inspecting company.
Macy's is not commenting on the accident because the Valdez family is suing the retail giant. Tyson Krupp, who had a contract to maintain the escalator, says it was last checked out a week before the accident. Escalator accidents aren't that uncommon. There were more than 22,000 last year alone in the U.S.
911, where's your emergency? Paramus on the second floor. A girl had her foot caught in the escalator.
I found her lying in a pool of blood.
3 years ago, Alana Bogart lost a toe in an escalator accident at the Paramus Park Mall. This is what her foot looked like after surgery.
I just joined a sports team for the first time. I haven't been doing gym.
Back at Juliana's hospital room in New Jersey, we shared the I-Team's findings with her and her family, and they now have their own questions.
They should have checked it out. I heard that it's one of the oldest escalators, and they should have changed it.
Now, believe it or not, there's nothing illegal about the escalator having been made in 1955. It just needs to be regularly maintained. The inspection company in charge of monitoring escalators in Paramus is not commenting, but did send a letter to the state claiming Macy's interrupted their May inspection and Tyson Krupp could not reschedule before the accident happened. We don't know if the lack of a second inspection is the cause of this accident. That will be left up to a jury to decide if the lawsuit ends up being tried in court.
What surprised me is how many accidents there are across the country. You said 22,000.
22,000 across the country. 2,000 of those, they don't classify them exactly, but people either are maimed or die in these accidents, but they don't classify exactly, but up to 2,000 are very serious.
Well, how do customers know if they're safe?
You can always look into the records. You can obviously watch the news. One of the best things that we learned, you can actually look down and make sure the comb plates aren't missing teeth, and just be very vigilant.
Okay. All right, Tom, thank you. And if you have something you think the news...
All right. I hate the media. I do. I really do. You know what? The sensationalism that they come up with is unbelievable. Is this a terrible accident? Yes, it's a terrible accident. Could it have been prevented? Probably yes. With better maintenance, yes. I mean, probably. According to the video, you pull out a number of 22,000 accidents on escalators, and then you say 2,000 of them were, real serious. I mean, come on, pull some numbers out of, if you're really sure about that, pull them up there. But what kills me about these articles is that here's an excellent opportunity to literally promote elevator safety and user rider behavior, and they're not even touching on it. I mean, it drives me crazy. So, I can't remember the last escalator I've been on that didn't have broken comb teeth, honestly. And at the same point, it's amazing that a company like Macy's came out and said, "Oh, you can't do your inspection now. It's disrupting our sales or our day or customers." I mean, there's a whole, variety of issues with this I-Team investigation that bother me, and this is one of the reasons why I do not watch the news. And every chance I can, I rip on it because it's ridiculous. I mean, come on, you've got this huge audience. Let's do something good with it. Let's touch on some it's not like the escalator pulled the person into it. I mean, and again, I don't know the particulars of the accidents, plural. But the reality is that, and obviously the riding public doesn't always know, but, if there's gaps between the steps, that's an issue. Missing comb teeth, that's an issue, obviously. And I don't know. I wish it were easier. And honestly, maintenance, and you wonder if this is a case where recommendations had been made to modernize or repair the escalator without basically the owner of the unit not proceeding because either the A didn't have money or B they didn't have money or they had money they didn't want to spend on it. So I'd be curious to know whether or not that comes into the case. And listen, if you have that information on file as a contractor or whatever, it's going to be a lot easier for you in a case like that. So if you know what I mean. So get that documentation, get it, do the right thing. And hopefully in the end, the owners will do the right thing on their own. Okay. I mean, that's the best lesson to learn. And if you're afraid of offending the customer because of that, you don't need them as a customer because if there's a death or an injury as a relation to that, or it's just not worth it. Okay, Elevator World Incorporated here's the industry news for November 19, 2013. It's always good. I always check this out or get it in my blog notes, RSS feeder when it comes out, which is pretty much every day. But this is kind of cool. I wanted to talk about this Nordic Elevator Championship set. I couldn't find anything online about it, but if you could believe it, I always thought it'd be kind of neat to create our own type of elevator competition where mechanics would be pitted against each other to do great things or install stuff fast or whatever, be safe, whatever. And anyway, Tabby, a Sweden-based elevator components wholesaler, is celebrating its 75th anniversary on November 21st, which is tomorrow, with the inaugural Nordic Elevator Championship. And at least several hundred guests are expected to attend the event, which will feature elevator competence contests that measure technique, strength, speed, and intelligence. So I thought that was pretty cool. Maybe we'll see this in the Olympics someday. I don't know. Maybe not. But yeah. Okay, Red Cloud Library to add an elevator to help that building become more accessible. Let everybody read that on their own. This is actually, I think, North or South Dakota. If you want to find out more, okay, here we go. Chicago Elevator Association Holiday Party Set. It is going to be held Wednesday, December 4th, in about 2 weeks at 6:30 p.m. Got a great band who will be there. Also, just as a reminder, December 2nd there will be no meeting, mainly because it is the day after New Year's, and it's just not that well attended. So anyway, members are allowed one person from each company free of charge. Additional people are $65 each, and non-members are $95 each. So looking forward to see many of you who come in for that party, and hopefully we will not see snow by then. Okay, if you want to find out more about an elevator generator, John has a video over there. I'm going to scroll off of it because we're not going to watch it, but John is the elevator adjuster who goes out and shoots videos, which I think are kind of cool. I always worry a little bit because they're out to the public and kind of concerns me a little bit in terms of other people looking at it and going, oh, I can fix my elevator now because I've seen a video. John does a good job of disclaiming that, so just as a wayward note, but he's got a lot of great videos of equipment. If you can't get on the field or you're not in the field, just nice to see some of the equipment that's out there and kind of how he deals with it. So John does a good job in his maintenance and definitely points out issues with equipment that he works on. So hats off to you, John, for keeping up the video channel there. So definitely very cool. The Elevator Escalator Safety Foundation has created a link on their website, and for those of you out there that have been a little confused as to why your company name may or may not be shown in the contributor list, this is why. The IRS requires the contributors. Okay, a contribution is defined by the IRS as something that does not return an advertising benefit to the company or the person or whatever. So that's what a contribution is. That is considered tax deductible. whereas a sponsor, which has a marketing or sales return, technically you'd think, or how they define it as a return on investment, is not necessarily categorized as a contribution nor a tax-deductible donation, although many of us consider it as such, as I do when I donate to various charities without getting a letter or a confirmation receipt, whatever. So the Elevator Escalator Safety Foundation has set up, Barbara did a great job with this, to recognize sponsors and workplace campaign contributors for the various fundraisers that we have held over the years. Not always easy to do, especially in situations where we've had, golf outings that have people that attend, and technically they're a contributor. But it's great. Nice to see. It's nice to see the various companies being recognized on this page. So check this out. And because in some situations, companies donate or sponsor and give back to the foundation a heck of a lot more than they're shown in the in the contribution list, which matters to some and others does not. So it's important that the foundation recognizes everybody who contributes, and that's really important to the foundation. So for everybody that does, thank you very, very, very much. And last news article here is a press release from Maxton Manufacturing, where the company holds 2 days of CET training at Delaware Elevator Company. Again, they're on that training program where if you're interested in a program locally, they can come out and help you with that. I think that's awesome. So, as more information on that, check out maxtonvalve.com and or some product support. They've got their Maxton Mobile Mechanic app, which is for free field training software. I can't imagine it's just real slick how they've unrolled this or roll out this whole thing. So anyway, well, that's going to do it for this week's show, everybody. As we kind of wind down and head into Hump Day. What day is it? What day is it? Mikey. What day is it? It's Hump Day. I love that commercial. But it is Hump Day, and it's great to be here putting on another show. Hopefully you enjoy the video feed once again on the YouTube channel, as always, or if you're on the audio channel over the iTunes Marketplace or website or whatever. Thanks for joining us today. We greatly appreciate it. And for those of you traveling before next Wednesday, I hope you have great travels. Travel safe. Try not to go crazy at your family. If you see them once or twice a year and you're stuck with your family members that you may or may not be crazy about, just remember it is once, it might be twice a year, I don't know. Just hang in there with it and try not to drink too much. All right. So that's going to do it for the show, everybody. Take care. We'll be back next Wednesday. And again, think safety, be safe. Talk to you there. Bye-bye.